Hi friends, welcome to the Unit 4A Day 3 notes. This one talks about isosceles and equilateral triangles. So with this one, we're going to be really looking at some of the definitions of both isosceles and equilateral triangles. First, let's just review the definition for an isosceles triangle. Remember, an isosceles triangle is a triangle which has two congruent, so it's a triangle with two congruent sides. Two congruent sides. Working from home today, so I don't have my straight edge. There we go. So an example of that would look something like this. Ooh. So there's a triangle with two congruent sides. With this, we have a few theorems. So if two sides of a triangle are congruent, then its base angles are congruent. Now, the base angles, those are the angles that are associated with the leg that's not, the leg that's not congruent to their two. So BC here is the base. So the base angles would be this one here and that one here. So angle B is congruent to angle C. Remember, we use the congruent symbol for angles, and we would say the measurements are equal. So the converse, if two angles of a triangle are congruent, then two sides are congruent. Which means it's an isosceles triangle. So in this case, we would have segment ED is congruent to segment FD. Like that. So those are our two for isosceles triangles. For equilateral triangles, if we have an equilateral triangle, then it is also equiangular. It is also, which I actually mentioned in the day 1 notes. Also equiangular. Ooh, man, spelling. Let's make sure I got this right. There you go. Oh, it looks like I have two I's there. There we go. There's an equiangular triangle. So triangle ABC, here we have this part. We have this part showing that, all of these bases sides are the same. We can also draw the conclusion that angle A is congruent to angle B, which is congruent to angle C. We also know the measurements of all these because then it has to be a regular triangle, and so we know that each of the angle measurements are also 60 degrees. And then the other part here, if a triangle is equiangular, then it is equilateral. So if it's an equiangular triangle, then it's an equilateral triangle. It can't be one and not the other. It has to be both. So here, my conclusion is, so if I have a triangle with all the same sides, then I know that the segments are going to be congruent to one another. So there's that part. We're going to use that information here to answer these examples. This part's fairly short with the examples. The big thing to note is that just be careful with certain aspects of this particular homework assignment. As we go through and talk about these in the next video, I just want to point out A lot of mistakes are made from assuming things to be true when they're not. Go back and review the note page that you made to make sure that you got it right. I'll see you in the next video.